Hello, brilliant minds. Welcome to Grade Syllabus Hub. I am your teacher Rabia Huma Imtiaz. Today we continue our story about two young girls who lived with wolves and were brought to an orphanage. This part shows their difficult journey of learning how to act like humans. The moral of our story is that true love, endless patience, and kindness can change any wild heart and teach us what it truly means to be human. Let us begin. 6 men sat on a wooden hunting platform. The platform had been hastily built during the heat of the day. Now in the gathering twilight, the men knew that their long wait would soon be over. Below them, some 30 meters away, stood a giant anthill. It was on this that the men's attention was focused. One of the men licked his lips nervously. The anthill, he knew, had long ago been abandoned by ants. Now it was simply a hollow shell-like cave. Inside it there lived jungle demons. Sunset was time for the demons to appear. It was October 9, 1920. Everyone in the village knew about the jungle demons. They had heard their howls and their strange yelping cries. Several people had actually seen the demons. They were in appearance half human, half animal. The superstitious would no longer venture into the forest for fear of them. The forest was bathed in a deep red glow from the setting sun. The first of the large fruit bats flapped past at the waiting men. Suddenly there was a movement in the narrow entrance of the anthill. The men on the platform stiffened. One of them drew in his breath sharply while another tightened the stock of his rifle. Something was coming out of the anthill. It was a fully grown wolf. Then a second wolf, and then 2 small cubs came out. Then something else emerged. It was just as the villagers had said, half human and half animal. The demon was followed by a second monster much smaller than the first. Both of the creatures had matted hair which covered their faces, and both walked on all fours. They looked around cautiously before bounding after the wolves. The 6 men reacted in different ways. 2 aimed their rifles at the strange creatures. One quickly signaled them not to shoot. Then he began to write in his notebook. One man, frightened to look, buried his face in his hands. The rest stared in disbelief. So the story was true. They had seen the monsters for themselves. The man with the notebook was Mr. Ali. He had listened to the tales and chatter about them, and had been determined to prove that the stories were nonsense. Even so, it had taken a good deal of persuasion to find men who would take him to the spot and wait with him while he observed them for himself. Back at the village, Mr. Ali ignored the excited talk of his 5 companions and read the notes he had scribbled at the time. The creatures were hideous beings he had written. Both of them ran on all fours. Others stood out hand, foot, and body like a human being, but the head was a big ball of something crowning the shoulders. He was convinced, however, that the creatures were not demons. What he felt sure he had seen were 2 children about 4 or 5 years old. From the way the children had moved, Mr. Ali believed they had been living with the wolves for a long time. He had no doubt about what he should do next. He must rescue them. He didn't even consider leaving them to go on living as wild animals. The next day, he tried to form a rescue party from among the men of the village. None of them would help him capture the wolf children. They still believed that the creatures were evil spirits. Mr. Ali was forced to seek help from another village 7 miles away. A week later, the hunting party advanced on the lair. As they neared the anthill, they spread out in a circle. They moved cautiously, beating the ground in front of them. The advance frightened many smaller animals into the open. But no wolves appeared. Mr. Ali moved towards the mound. He ordered 2 men to start digging at the entrance. They began to hack the ground nervously. Mr. Ali assured them there were no demons, but this was no comfort. They knew well enough that there were wolves inside. At any moment they expected an angry wolf to emerge. Then a wolf did spring out of the lair. The digger jumped back as it ran off into the thick undergrowth. Nobody tried to stop its escape. In fact, some of the men, frightened at the sudden appearance of the animal, began to run away. Mr. Ali began to shout at the fleeing men, but stopped as another wolf emerged. It was the she-wolf, courageously trying to defend her young. She arched her back and bared her teeth, but before Mr. Ali could give any order, some of the men shot several arrows. Mr. Ali watched the animal roll over in agony. He felt bitter and angry with himself. He had not intended to kill any of the wolves. Now he snatched up a spade and dug furiously into the anthill. The digging revealed a pathetic sight. 4 trembling creatures lay in a ball of fur and hair. The ball was made up of 2 wolf cubs and 2 little girls. Mr. Ali had never seen children like them before. They were almost unrecognizable as human beings. They snarled and bit him as he tried to separate them from the cubs.